Welcome to the MindShare podcast. Today we have Aidan Brannigan. He is the founder of NoBoringBrands, where they help B2B companies make memes and skits. And I believe they're generating 1 million plus views a day. So really excited to have this call today. Yeah. So to get started, I saw one of the posts you made around, I think it was a year ago. You said, "Don't let anyone tell you your dreams are too crazy. I legitimately make memes for a living." That's just
Yeah.
not there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. I got started, I just fell into it. A series of different circumstances that I'm very grateful for led me to this. When COVID hit, I was a freshman in college. And so I had a ton of time to just do whatever. Like school was fully remote online. It was very easy. So I started working at different startups and I was 18 or 19. So these startups saw a young kid and they're like, run our social media. So I started running social accounts for like followings of like 40, 50,000. And I was realizing that memes were a phenomenal way to get some engagement, build some community. Then I kind of took a step away from memes and social media specifically, started working at a different media company called Overtime, and then parlayed that into a different media company called Workweek. Throughout my college career, everything I was doing work-wise was centered around content. Just the different type of content was changing at different spots. So started with short form memes, shifted into like writing articles about the NFL on Overtime's app. Then it went to long form
Mm.
newsletter, podcast, YouTube. Then it came full circle back to memes. But I really, really got the idea and the conviction to start this company by reading Naval Ravikant. I don't know if you've ever heard of Naval, but he's like a
Mm.
modern, he
Okay.
talks about is like commoditizing yourself and the fact that no one can beat you at being you. And so you need to really double down on your specific knowledge, whatever it is. And the way you identify your specific knowledge is it's typically things that you do naturally and come naturally to you that you just assume comes naturally to everyone because it comes naturally to you. And I realized wit
Mm.
and humor that for me. And so that's really what led to me starting No Boring Brands.
That's awesome. Was humor or like this wittiness always part of your personality growing up, or was there something that you kind of built through maybe consuming content or just yeah, as a skill that you've learned over time?
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of really close buddies and, with good like guy friends, you're always just busting each other's chops. So I was quick on my feet always because I had to be, otherwise you drown in a guy's friendship.
Hmm.
I wouldn't have said like I still to this day do not consider myself like when people think of me and like if you ask my friends like what's Aiden like, I guarantee they will not be like, oh, Aiden's funny. I think they would think other things before. Like I pride myself on being like a kind and selfless individual, but I'm witty and I'm quick on my feet and I'm
Mm.
not like the class clown. So like in high school and college, I wasn't the class clown. But like if someone tried to
Yeah.
hit me with a little bit of a chirp, I could get them back quickly. But yeah, it's just like a natural skill that I realized I had. I was able to think quick.
You call No Boring Brands like the world's first creative humor agency. Were there any specific problems that you saw in the market that you were trying to tackle? Because I would say most people, when they think about memes or skits, it's mostly on the B2C side. So you see like Instagram, TikTok, but you seem to be focusing more on the more serious industries like cybersecurity, like
Yeah.
SaaS. And so what led you to that?
That's a good question. I realized that if I wanted to compete in the consumer facing side of things, right? Like I always use this example. If I went to Starbucks and I said, hey, Starbucks, it's $5,000 a month to work with us. We're going to make memes for you and they're going to be great and you're going to go viral. They're going to be like, go screw yourself, dude. Like we can hire an intern for $10 an hour who can make just as good memes about coffee, right? And then I was like, all right, I want to make this content. I don't want to compete on price. So I need to go to a market where there's less competition and the upskilling required to make this content is way higher so I can command a higher price point. So that's where we go towards the super boring, super
Mm.
complex industries. Where if I go to Palo Alto Networks, who's targeting 65-year-old IT directors based in Idaho, the level of expertise and awareness of just general marketing principles of like, what is an ICP? What is brand risk? What is a
Mm.
brand image is way higher. And so when I go to them and say it's $5,000 a month to work with us for memes, like just memes, they can't go and say the next guy's offering us 1,000. And I'm like, all right, well, he's offering you 1,000. You're probably going to get in trouble by working with that person because they don't have that level of awareness of the nitty gritty when choosing this slightly more risky type of content. So that's why we go the boring route of like flashy companies.
Do you think a company has to already have the, I guess, brand of, oh, we're seen as humorous or maybe trendy to have memes and skits? Because I guess the other part is, how do you communicate the ROI of humor content to execs when maybe they've always functioned as, oh, we're the boring cybersecurity company.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think a brand needs to have that witty or humorous side to the brand before working with us. And the way I communicate the ROI is like usually the leadership is very like risk averse to this type of content. And the way I explain it to them is there's two routes we can go. Your brand can become a joke and you can be the class clown like Ryanair, Slim Jim, Duolingo. And that crosses on
Yeah.
social media. But you're a serious software company targeting like each contract that you sign is $150,000. So we use humor to signal awareness and understanding of your ideal customer's pain without your software in their life. And so then it's this very strategic communication style. It's the Ryan Reynolds approach. Like everything he does with all of his movies and all of his companies is wit and humor led, but it's not lazy and like a class clown. He's very clever. Now there's some times where he crosses that line, but that's the way I communicate it to the client. It's like we are at the fundamental level. This is like everything we do is rooted in marketing fundamentals. We're identifying your customer, we're speaking to your customer, and we're making sure that your brand's message is being communicated to that customer.
So I guess not every meme is created equal, I'd say, right?
Yeah. Like if I'm not gonna, I don't want to talk about the numbers of like the price points, but we have a few competitors and the price that our competitors are able to command like per meme in a sense is significantly different than the price we're able to command because we've put together a whole consulting package where when people think memes, they think quick hitter. It's like the crack of the industry. It's like what's happening now. Let's chime in on. We look at it as how can we make humor and wit a long-term part of your brand identity, and we're creating evergreen content. So it's not trend-based at all. So we go like 3 levels deeper and bring marketing fundamentals into a typically not seen as related to marketing fundamentals content form.
What makes a good meme or skit versus a bad one? Because maybe people who are looking at this podcast would consider going at the in-house because they're like, oh, memes are the way to go and stand out. Let's do it ourselves. How do you define those?
A great meme will be rooted in a pain point that your ideal customer is feeling without your product or service in their life. That's what makes the content relatable and gets them to want to share it. And one thing I talk about a lot is shares on social media are the 2025 version of word of mouth marketing. So that's super important. And so with every piece of content, we're trying to get our viewers to share the piece of content in their Slack, in their text messages with their coworkers, in the LinkedIn DMs, Instagram DMs. What makes a bad meme is like I would identify a bad meme as a meme that does not speak to your target audience. So like I wouldn't identify it as, oh, a bad meme is one that didn't perform well. It's a meme that just that misses the mark and doesn't attract the right people.
What are some companies you see have been doing this kind of meme marketing quite well beyond the clients that you've worked with?
ClickUp is someone who we work with, but they also do things outside of working with us that are, I think, very clever. Another one who sometimes, and maybe now has crossed the line where like when they first started, I would have said 100%. Now they've kind of become almost a little bit of a joke and a class clown that I don't entirely agree with. But at the start, TSA, like the government agency in the US, they were incredibly clever when they first started out, creating pretty funny content, like not exposing people for the silly things they bring through TSA, but like kind of like just cueing to the funny things that might be found in TSA. So they did a great job. I haven't been as tapped into them recently. Let me think if there's anything else.
I know a Beehive. They're the email marketing. Like, yeah, they do quite well with the
Ella
memes.
Rose runs their socials.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know she does a really good job. They're very, very clever.
So I guess what sort of company would humor not work in that case? So maybe people you actively say, oh no to because you're like, oh, humor wouldn't work because it's so serious. Like maybe it's legal, maybe it's healthcare or
Yeah.
some regulated industry. Is there something that you think about
So
or
uh, we actually do work with a few softwares that like are built for lawyers and attorneys. So that industry does work.
okay.
Where
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
yet been able to crack the code of if it would work, and my gut is saying it will not work, is like, and this is super niche. You can tell I've been thinking about this a lot because I've experienced
Mm,
this. I've tried to pitch these companies and realized I don't think I can, is like nursing homes and like elderly care companies and services, which is a humongous industry in the United
mhm,
States. Like there's nursing homes everywhere and elderly care services everywhere, and like retirement homes. And I realized I don't think this type of content would work at all, because those are very sensitive topics. And then government and politics, I'm kind of hesitant on, but for sure is like that the
mm.
nursing home and elderly care industry. I don't think it would work there.
You reminded me of, yeah, when you mentioned nursery and retirement. Is it because of also the generation gap and just the different humor styles and if they don't get the jokes or what
So
is it that makes it hard?
yeah, I think like if we're talking elderly care, my gut's saying like the buyer there is like sometimes the elderly person, sometimes their family. And if it's their family, they're definitely able to be reached on social media because they're younger. I just think it's like too of like a sensitive, personal like experience, and like sometimes sad, sometimes very fulfilling, that it's like
Mm.
there's just too much risk and downside there. That's what I would say for sure.
So you're doing, let's say, 1 mil plus daily organic views for your clients. What would be like the typical playbook for consistently hitting that scale? If you were to recommend or give some advice for in-house marketers who want to try this themselves first, before, let's say,
Yeah.
working with you guys.
Yeah. So it you need to reframe your vision of what social media is. Like I just had a sales call 2 hours ago, and it was a very sweet lady, and she was like when we work with brands, like we don't do anything other than a 3 month minimum initial project because we work on organic social, and
Hmm.
takes months to build momentum. And she was like, we want to test it out, and I'm like, and she's like, we want to test
Yeah.
it out to see if it works. And I'm like, what is the definition of works and what is a test? And she's like, oh, we want to do a few posts. And it's like, all right, if your timeline is that small, you're leaving it up to entirely to luck. There's no skill required in making a random one-off post go viral. So what I would say to in-house
Mm.
marketers is view your approach to content as a test and learn. And whatever timeline you have in your head with where you expect to see results, double it or triple that timeline. So if it's like 1 month, like triple the
Mm.
timeline. 3 months, or if it's 2 months, double the timeline, and
Yeah.
post a ton of content and treat it as a test and learn. Whatever works, do more of it. Whatever doesn't work, do less of it. If a post doesn't get seen, that's kind of cool. You can post it again because it didn't get seen the first time. So that's just the way I would look at it. Like, don't be super attached to the results. And people, I think, overanalyze when they should be posting, what days of the week they should be posting, when they should be maximizing and optimizing for just consistency of getting content on the timeline. If you post
Mm.
at 6 p.m., like, it's fine. No one's going to die. Like the timeline is always working and always pushing your content for you.
So I work with, so I run a founder-led marketing agency. We kind of help founders build up their personal brand specifically through LinkedIn. And so
Mhm.
when you kind of help clients with content, do you post on their company profile or do you post on their personal profiles? Because I
Yes.
guess from a, yeah, general like LinkedIn algorithm, personal account, those tend to get better reach, better impressions. But yeah, what's your take on that?
Yeah, so we only work with company accounts, entirely brand accounts, and we have a few like stakes in the ground that we've made, and some people disagree with them. Some of my friends completely disagree with them because they have businesses similar to you. I'm working
Mm,
with founders, but we believe like one very simple thing, right? Like companies invest 5, 10, $15,000 a month in building out their executives' personal brands. And something that happens is those executives leave. And so you've poured a ton of cash into executives' personal brands and assets that you've built that no longer have any value to you. Your company account
Mm,
is never going to leave you. So that's one thing we tell to brands. Also, one of the reasons why personal branding works so well and has worked so well over the last 4 years is because no one was really doing it. And so there's that differentiation factor, which marketers value a ton, and people flood to that. Now, I think like for the first time in 4 or 5 years, you're almost differentiating by investing in your company page. So there's a little bit of a gap there where we're kind of like, hey, all your competitors are investing in their executive team's personal branding. They've forgotten about their company page. Let's blow up
mm,
your company page and increase your perceived size and credibility with this follower base. Yeah, so there's just some thoughts. Obviously, though, I run a business and I do founder-led content. So it's like at a
yeah.
scale, founder-led content is incredibly valuable. If we go to Trainual, which is a Series B SaaS company, they have like 250 employees. Like at that
Mm,
scale, it's all right. Founder-led content does have some impact, but we need to start building your brand awareness. And then if you go further along the line, like we work with Apollo, they have
mm,
1,000 employees. Founder-led content sure might work, but we need to build this brand awareness up on your company account. But for an agency like mine, we have
yeah.
a team of 10 and we get all of our leads through my personal branding. Like that's super vital.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's another pattern that I've seen working with clients as well. Founder-led content is super valuable. I would say below, let's say 10 mil ARR sort of thing. But then when you
Yeah.
get to the Series B and beyond, I think
Yeah.
it's where the company profile starts to shine. And so
Yeah.
there is a staged process through that.
100%.
And like, yeah, at different moments, you kind of use different levers to pull to grow. Yeah, and so if you were to wave a wand and instantly change one mindset in the average CMO's head about content, what would that be? Because I would assume most of these marketing leaders, they don't think about humor from the get-go.
Yeah.
Maybe the whole goal is like leads, impressions, whatever that is. So what are some, I guess, common either objections or certain mindsets that need to be changed?
Yeah. So what we've identified is that decision makers within companies are problem aware and they're solution unaware. So they're aware of the
Mm,
problem that they need to grow on social media. They need organic reach. They're totally aware that that is a problem they need to fix. The solution of using humor, they're completely oblivious to. So
mhm,
like that's something I would love to solve. Like if people gut reactions to like 5 years ago, people were not aware that you could use podcasts and do podcast clipping and grow on social media that way. But now everyone knows that's a solution. So if people experience the pain of lack of social media growth, podcast clipping is one of their first solutions in their mind. I would love to get to a point where humor and
mm.
meme are one of the first solutions people look for.
I think it's so underrated as well, just because traditional B2B content is so dry and so boring, especially the ones that are posted on the company profile. They're like always me, like company updates, product updates, maybe some hiring posts. And it's like, as a prospective customer, you don't really care about those things. Like, what you care about, especially when you're on social media where the intent is to be entertained, there's nothing to be entertained about. And so
Yep.
maybe that's why people lean into the personal stuff, because like more relatable, more educational, so they at least get something out of the time of scrolling through LinkedIn or scrolling through a BB platform. And so I think, yeah, that's probably one of the tough parts. And I guess the mindset shift is like humor is entertaining, but eventually it would also lead to pipeline as well and lead to attention. I would say attention is probably the hardest thing to tackle at the moment. I think everyone's trying to grab attention. Distribution is the mode, especially with so many products and features being built using AI. And so it's very tough for startups to stand out. And so yeah, humor is definitely kind of one of that vehicle to do that, right?
100%.
How do you think AI plays into humor content? Like, do you guys use it to do the brainstorming, to kind of maybe edit, produce content? Like, how do you use AI in your agency?
Yeah, we use it as like a thought partner for the brainstorming. So with every brand we work with, we build these custom GPTs that like our creators can use to brainstorm like content. And That's been very helpful to upskill the team quickly, especially in industries that we don't have previous experience with working in. We do have someone we've worked with that makes actual AI meme videos, and I've posted a few of those, and they're pretty funny. They're just expensive to produce and take a
Yeah.
while, so we haven't like scaled that to our clients at all.
Mm.
But we're trying to, and we're trying to find a way to do that because I think that's very clever. And it skates past this one big problem with memes, and it is a problem, is the copyright and rights to content. So that's one of the reasons why we make memes and skits, because memes, it's kind of this gray area of like posting memes for organic social that isn't directly like commercialized and using someone else's likeness. It's like kind of this gray area. There's big brands that do it, but you can get hit with if someone wants to come after you, they could potentially get you for something. So that's why we make skits where it's entirely original content. Our creators shooting with their iPhone,
Yeah.
just to hedge bets a little bit and offer a service that for our more risk averse clients can take. And using AI generated videos where you create them from scratch, you kind of step by that celebrity likeness and image and likeness thing.
Do you think AI is good at making jokes, or do you think it's innately human? Because I've tried to make some in the past, and the output that was generated was very dry, or it just
Yeah.
doesn't get. There's just something that's like off, but I can't really explain it. Has that been the case as well?
Yeah, like all of the research that AI is built on is written text, right? And like there's something about humor that is deeper than just that level of written text. It's like something innate, the human shared experience that makes it funny. I do think like for strictly written copy, witty, unexpected like content, AI can do that. Like there's formulas to make funny content. What is funny is literally taking someone down one path and unexpectedly taking them down another, and that tricks their brain and it gets a little like there's like literally formulas to make people laugh, and AI can do that through written word. But I think for like video content and everything, there's way deeper levels that AI hasn't sniffed yet.
Do you study comedians by any chance? Because I've definitely
Yeah.
realized a lot of content marketers, they study storytelling a lot. They look at writing, they look at how movies are like created, and so that helps them with like building the narrative, creating all the like content strategy. And so is that also something that you incorporate? Because you mentioned like the formula, the framework, and so yeah, there's probably something there to it.
100%. I do in my free time. I love, like, if I had a choice to do anything, it's I want to listen to a comedian podcast, watch a comedy, or just something that'll make me laugh, because I subconsciously take in the framing, the pacing, the types of analogies they use. Like I watch a lot of Joe Rogan, his podcast, because he has a lot of comedians on there, and just get to see how they operate and how they're works. There's a few people too in my personal circle and some of our creators on our team that I hired them entirely because they have a different style of humor than I do. And I want to learn that, like how their brain works that way. Like I have a very specific, narrow and specific style of humor. I don't know what I'd call it, but a little more literal, and like quick and just like clever. And it's something that everyone's thinking, but no one's said. But there's
Yeah.
different types of humor for sure that I like to study and see what I can pick up.
Do you have anyone on LinkedIn that you follow on a regular basis to learn about like humor stuff, or yeah, just for inspiration, or
Yeah.
even just people that you think other marketers should follow because they do such good content?
Yeah. Taylor Willette is this girl who we actually work with. Her, like, she's a creator we work with. She is freaking hilarious. And she does like she does a lot of written content that performs really well. So she's someone that I like admire, and she has a different style of humor than I do. Just naturally too, she's a girl, and I think that her brain is wired way differently than I am, and it's really clever what she does.
Awesome. You mentioned also using AI to kind of train your team on, let's say, industries you've never worked with. But I would say also, how do you look for talent or just people to bring onto the agency? Because I feel like this kind of work is very unique and requires a specific type of person to understand what good jokes are or good memes are, and then how to translate that into actual creatives, and then yeah, all that down the road. So what sort of things do you look for in hires, or yeah, just talent in general?
Yeah, so I don't know if this is the best route, but this is how we went about it, especially at the beginning. I have a meme page that I own, and so and I like I don't really care too much about it, and so I like to use it as a blank canvas to like try different stuff. So what I did was I did a post like, "Hey, we're looking to
Mm,
hire meme creators." So we got like 6 or 8 in the door. They're just like freelancers, contractors. They have social media jobs and they're looking for some side cash. And I just paid them to make like 20 sample memes, and we posted them. And I just got to learn
mm.
like, all right, this person makes this type of meme. Like these people are obviously a little bit better. And we kind of just moved with the best from there. And then slowly we've kind of accumulated this roster. I don't even know how many creators we have right now. Let me see.
So do
So we
you have like
have,
regular meme freelancers or people that you
yeah,
work with on
we
a regular
we have
basis?
we call it a bench. We have a bench of 12
Mm,
creators right now where we plug them on projects, and a few of them are on like 5 or 6 different projects, and we've been working with them for a year. And so it's kind of, we've just slowly accumulated it by, I've posted a few times that like, hey, we're looking to hire, and people reach out and we do a project and I realize they're really good. And then we do a second project.
I guess like
Yeah.
how would, let's say if a company wanted to bring someone in-house to focus specifically on humor content, or yeah, maybe a content marketer and trying to get into this area, like how do they think about the skill sets, or maybe even just the exact things to write in the job description? Like what would that be?
Yeah. So you either need someone who is extremely knowledgeable already in that niche, or someone who has shown they are a fast learner. So like look for someone who can take in a lot of information and upskill themselves quickly and self-manage. You need someone who's funny. Being funny is a skill. So like you can
Hmm.
train yourself to be funnier. I can train myself to be funnier. But there's people who just like any skill, like running. Like there's some people who start at a 10 speed, and if they
Yeah.
train they can get to a 15 speed, whereas some people start at a 3, and if they train they could get to a 6. They're just not naturally as good as it. So you need to look for people who are funny. So one way to do that is in your application process, prompt and add different opportunities for people to show their humor, whether that is like, hey, make a funny piece of content about this topic related to our brand, or make some
Mm-hmm.
memes roasting this competitor, and just give them an opportunity the same way. Like when you're hiring a software engineer, like you do a project with them and you have them like, can they actually code and like develop this app? It's like, can this person actually make someone laugh? So put them in scenarios like that where they can show their ability.
I love that. I'm always a big advocate of test projects. I think for companies who don't do it and they just have like, I prefer test projects over cover letters. I think cover letters people can just like have a template and just master in, but the projects, it really shows one, the proactiveness of the candidate, but then also two, just yeah, evaluates the skill sets and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, huge
Yeah.
proponent. Yeah. Where do you see B2B content in the future? Do you think there'll be more humor coming out, or do you think more personal content? Or yeah, there seems to be a few kind of trends, but I would say in the near 3 to 5 years, where do you kind of see the landscape heading towards?
Yeah, I would say I see a slight trend towards like 2018, 2019 YouTube style content where it's like vlogs. I see that
Mm,
coming to fruition more on LinkedIn, where you get, you know, people that were raised on vlogs and consuming vlogs are
yeah.
now no longer the entry level social media manager. They're the one leading the team, and they're like, I just see like that becoming a stronger content format and more evident content format. There's a few creators on LinkedIn that are already following that. I like that style of content.
And it's kind of like I feel B2B content is always lagging, even just B2B marketing a bit is always lagging compared to B2C. there's a lot of transferable things that I feel, especially LinkedIn influencers I've seen, they are starting to figure out, okay, what does work on TikTok, and then bring it into LinkedIn and just something this. I think one of them was around, what was it? It was like a learning schedule or something. It was like, oh, this is what I'm learning for this whole month, and then she just like showcases the books that she's reading or the courses that she's taking. And so there's a few one of those, but I would say there's a lot of things B2C is doing right that B2B marketers starting to.
Yeah, I agree.
To end this off, where can people find you, and if they want to work with you, like, yeah, what sort of companies do you work with?
Yeah, we work with B2B SaaS companies primarily. Visit my website. It's NoBoringBrands.co. And then I post every day on LinkedIn. I try to be as entertaining as possible there. But dude, I appreciate you having me on. I really do.